The completely redesigned interior of the all-new Jeep JL Wrangler is without question one of its finest features. Jeep really knocked it out of the park with all the new details that they put in here and, dare I say, luxurious trim. Unfortunately, they gave us absolutely nowhere to install something like a full-size CB radio, a ham, or even a hard-mounted race radio. Sure, you can use something like a Cobra 75 or maybe a Midland CB radio like this, but with a speaker about the size of my thumb, it can be really hard to hear anything, especially when you're doorless and topless. Among other things, an old school CB radio like this Cobra 29 comes with a really large speaker, which is really easy to hear, and it has additional features like this RF gain that allow you to dial in static so that you can hear people from further away, and it comes with an SWR meter that'll allow you to tune your antenna. But regardless of how you like to talk to your wheeling buddies, you're going to need a place to mount it, and that's why I came up with the CB bar. The CB bar is designed to be a 100% bolt-on system that requires no drilling, cutting, or removal of any of the factory trim. It can be used with a hard top, a soft top, or no top, and without blocking the rear view mirror, interfering with the sun visor, or getting in the way of any of the latches that are on the Freedom top or soft top. As you can see, the CB bar comes with everything that you need, and I'm going to show you just how easy it is to install. Being that we have a hard top, we're going to need to remove our Freedom top panels to start this process, and to do that, we're going to fold down our sun visors, push it all the way to the windshield, and then go ahead and release the header latches. Now we can rotate the 3 Freedom top locks to the open position. Okay, so now we can go ahead and assemble the CB bar, but before we do, let's go over a few of the parts that you're going to be working with. This, of course, is the CB bar itself, and this is the top side that you're looking at, and you can tell because it's got larger holes in the center, and you've also got bracket mounting holes on either end. These are the CB bar mounting brackets, the smaller bolts, washers, and these serrated nuts. These are all used to assemble the brackets to the CB bar itself. The larger bolts, these large washers, and the nylock nuts, they're used to actually secure the CB bar to your Jeep itself. So we'll go ahead and grab the driver's side mounting bracket, one of the serrated nuts, small washer, and a small bolt. And we'll go over here to the driver's side, take the serrated nut, place it underneath the mounting bracket, we'll slide it into the CB bar itself, place the washer up on top, and then we can thread in the bolt. And then we're going to take a 7/16 inch wrench and just lightly tighten it. Because the nut is serrated underneath, you don't actually need another tool to hold it there because it'll just bite into the metal. You actually want it to be able to rotate just a little bit so you can make adjustments on the Jeep as necessary. Alright, so now we're going to do the passenger side. We're going to take the serrated nut, place it underneath the bracket, the washer on top, and thread it in. Go ahead and tighten it just a bit. Okay. It's a lot easier to install this CB bracket onto the CB bar while this is still on the bench as opposed to doing it while it's in the Jeep, so that's what we're going to do now. So what we're going to do is rotate this bar on its side. We're going to take one of these longer bolts and matching washer, slip it through, and then we're going to go ahead and place it through the bracket into the hole. Now we're going to use a 7/16 inch deep socket, and we're going to go ahead and place another one of these serrated nuts into it, and then what we can do is thread it on to the bolt. As you can see, the holes on top of the CB bar are large enough to actually get this socket into it. Grab another one. So now we can go ahead and tighten up the bolts, and because we use serrated nuts, this one ratchet and socket is all we're going to need. Alright, so now we can take this over to the Jeep and get it installed. Okay, so as you can see on top of the factory roll bar, there are actually 2 large holes in it, and these are actually used for the factory door surrounds when you have a soft top. You can also see that there's a plastic trim piece right here with these large grooves in it. We're going to be using this forwardmost hole and this groove to help install our CB bar. So we're going to go ahead and place this on top. And as you can see, there's some adjustment that we can make here. We can rotate these brackets ever so slightly to make sure that these holes line up, or more or less, and that this bracket is actually riding inside the groove of the plastic trim. Now I'm going to go over to the passenger side and make sure everything is lined as well. Now we're going to go ahead and take this large bolt that comes with the CB bar. We're going to place a fender washer on it. We're going to slip it through the bracket itself and the roll bar. We're going to place a nylock nut and washer on the bottom side. And then we can go ahead and start securing it in place using a 1/2-inch socket and wrench. With everything in place, we can now go ahead and tighten up the bolts on the CB bar. Okay. Now we get to install our CB radio. You can use a washer or a coin to go ahead and tighten up these thumb screws. CB's installed. All we have to do is wire it up and we're good to go. For those of you with a soft top, you don't even need to use any of the hardware that I've provided to secure the CB bar to the roll bar on your JL. All you need is your door surround. As you can see, there's actually a plastic plug that'll actually get inserted into the hole of the bracket and the roll bar. Then you take the hardware that comes with your soft top door surround. We can go ahead and secure everything in place. And you're going to need a Torx 40 bit to tighten it up. And that's it. Just to show you how the Freedom Top panels can be reassembled without any problems, how the CB bar won't interfere with any of the locks or the latches, we're going to go ahead and reinstall them now. So to begin, we're going to go ahead and put down our sun visors as we did before. Let's see, the latch is all clear. Sun visor clears, no obstructions. Everything clears. Perfect fit. Being that the main purpose of this video is to show you just how easy it is to install one of my CB bars in your JL Wrangler, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time explaining how to wire everything up. In reality, there are a whole lot of different ways to do it. But because I know there are going to be more than a few of you who are going to want some kind of an idea as to where you can start, I'll show you what I did. As luck would have it, the JL Wrangler still comes with a windshield that folds down. But we don't really anticipate folding ours down, so we decided to use the nice gap between it and the header to route our power lead and coax cable. As you can see here, I then took the power lead down along the windshield frame and along the dash. You can kind of see the wires right there, and then all the way into the footwell. If you got your JL Wrangler with auxiliary switches like we did, you'll find that there are power leads running up against the firewall down in the passenger footwell. And you can see that there are open leads right here. And the one that you're going to want is the red wire with the white stripe. That's what you're going to want to tap into because that'll give you the least amount of noise. As far as the ground goes, all you need to do is pull off this kick panel and this lower one as well. And you can see down right here, if I get a little light on it, there's a nice ground stud that you can attach it to. Now every CB is going to need an antenna to be able to actually communicate with, and I went ahead and made an antenna mount out of a piece of angle iron and attached to the factory tailgate hinge, as you can see here. As far as routing the coax cable goes, I went ahead and used a plug that's in the tailgate that came from the factory and routed it through that, and then ran it through the tailgate itself. I'll go ahead and remove the trim panel here so you can see what I did. It does take a little bit of effort, but you can get this coax cable routed behind all this metal here in the tailgate and have it come out this port. And then you can run it along the same wiring harness that's already attached to the tailgate. From there, I took the coax cable and routed it behind the plastic trim along the fender well, and then took it up along the roll bar behind the plastic cladding that you see here. Fortunately, the plastic cladding goes all along the length of the roll bar, and as you can see here, there's a nice little hole where I brought it out, ran it through behind the windshield frame and the header, and then down to the CB. Now there is one thing that you need to know, and that is that the tailgate itself isn't a very good ground, and a ground is important for an antenna. So what I went ahead and did is I installed a ground strap to one of the hinge bolts that you can see right here. This strap, I ran it up into the body trim just like I did with the coax cable, and then I ran it into the scissor jack cubby that you can see right here. Here's actually the ground strap. Take out this jack. As you can see here, there's a drain plug that easily pops out, and I ran it in between it. And you can see here the ground strap's really thin, so it doesn't actually interfere with anything. And then, because your best ground is going to be your frame, I went ahead and just attached it to one of the frame bolts. In this case, it's for the electrical harness for the tow package. A detailed written write-up can be found in a link in the description below, and a link where you could buy a CB bar for your JL Wrangler can be found there as well. You guys ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready to rock. Rubicon time.